brothers, both shot and killed at just 19 years old. Authorities say it was a murder-suicide, but their family, they do not believe it. They say the story just doesn't add up and are demanding a deeper investigation. So far, there's been one arrest in the case. I'll walk you through the details. For Long Crime News, I'm Kennedy Walker. Covering all
What's up, TikTok True Crime Time? It's your girl Pumpkin No Pies again, serving up a story that's been going on in Georgia about these two twin black young men that were found mysteriously killed on the top of Bell Mountain, Georgia. We're going to get into it. We're going to do little snippets, but I just want you guys to kind of get into what this is, and we're going to do a reaction.
Miles away from their home.
Let me back it up.
Told WXIA News the 19th date on all the latest celebrity scandals. Click on the link in the description of this video and subscribe to Scandal Today. All right, back to the story. A Georgia family is living a nightmare, mourning not one but two devastating losses. Twin brothers Quadir and Nazir Lewis were found fatally shot on top of a mountain miles away from their home. Their family told WXIA News the 19-year-olds were supposed to be in Boston visiting friends. Their plane tickets were booked, their bags were packed, and their family thought they were already on the way. But they never made their flight. Instead, just 24 hours later, they were found dead. Their bodies were discovered nearly 90 miles away from their Lawrenceville, Georgia home at the top of Bell Mountain, a place their family says they've never been before. According to Explore Georgia, the park is known for the Hal Herron Scenic Overlook, which rises to over 3,000 feet of elevation and has a 360 view of the surrounding lake and mountains. In an interview with local news station WXIA, the family said the brothers don't hike the mountain. They know nothing about the area, and they, quote, never heard of Bell Mountain, so how did they end up there? According to the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, at 11:05 a.m. on Saturday, March 8th, a 911 call came in. Hikers had stumbled upon the unthinkable. Two young men, both shot. The GBI ruled it a murder-suicide in their preliminary investigation, claiming one of the brothers pulled the trigger before turning the gun on himself. But their family refuses to accept that. They say the twins were inseparable, and the theory doesn't add up. We do know, however, that reportedly their plane tickets to Boston were allegedly still in their wallets. Investigators have not released any details about the gunshots, gun wounds, any weapons found at the scene, or any other details about how they were found and if or what was also on them. It's also unknown who had the last known contact with the twins, and if there were any indicators from friends that the two weren't going to be making that trip to Boston. Police and family members have also not released how the two ended up on the mountain, such as driving or being dropped off. We do know that the FBI is assisting the Towns County Sheriff's Office with the investigation. So far, there has been one arrest in the case. Days after the twins' death, the GBI released an update saying they arrested and charged 42-year-old Scott Curlin with misdemeanor obstruction. Curlin is a volunteer firefighter in Towns County who took photos of the Lewis twins' death scene and shared them publicly in a GoFundMe page created by the brothers.
Okay, we're going to get into this. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I think he should be held. Why? Because on a lot of these, crime TV, true crime stories, okay, there's a lot of things that stick out in this story. This is a volunteer from that town. And I'm going to give you a background on this particular place. It's Hiawassee. It's in Bell. They said Bell Mountain. And this is what I pulled up on their on the website about Georgia. New Georgia Encyclopedia is who I'm citing. It's Towns County. And it says Towns County saw a drop in black residents between 1900 and 1910 and had zero African Americans within its borders from 1920 to 1940. Oral evidence suggests that the county seat of Hiawassee had a reputation of violence against African Americans, particularly after nightfall. Black residents did not account for even 1% of the county's residents until 2020 census, which counted 158 black residents out of a total population of 12,493 people. Now, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure this shit out. You got two twins, had their whole lives ahead of them, bright futures. I ain't no damn detective, but I know enough to know. They were supposed to be in Boston, their tickets in their pockets, and this is a murder-suicide. What would make twins at the prime of their lives want to kill themselves? Now, they say they got the FBI. They say they arrested this man. Now, anybody can go back in the files and check TikTok true crime stories on how these detectives figure these cases out. The killer always comes back to the scene of the crime. And they use jobs like this. I bet anything in this world that so-called volunteer cop pulled them over and brought them to that mountain and killed them. And staged that shit to make it look like a murder-suicide, because they are known for heavy Klan activity. And what I believe is they're just putting that bullshit story out so that y'all don't fuck Georgia up. Because it don't make no damn sense. And it ain't no damn way. That man collected a trophy. And he felt like he's under the guise of law enforcement, local law enforcement, volunteer. Okay? And he takes him some mementos. Some souvenirs. He got him a 2-for-1. Child, let's get back into this shit.
And she wrote, quote, "My nephews wouldn't do this. They came from a family of love, and the twins wanted so much for their future. They had dreams of starting their very own clothing line. Unfortunately, something happened at Bell Mountain that ended the lives of 19-year-old Qadir and Nazir, which needs to be further investigated. At the time of this recording, the GoFundMe has raised nearly $30,000. So what really happened on that mountain? How did the brothers, who were supposed to be on a flight to Boston, end up dead in a place their family says they've never been? It's a mystery their loved ones are desperate to unravel, and one they hope police will answer soon as they struggle to make sense of this unimaginable loss. And I'm joined by legal expert Lauren Zimmerman. Lauren, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
So let's just dive right in. Based on what we know, which unfortunately is not a lot of information at this point, does the official ruling of murder, just dive right in. Based on what we know, which unfortunately is not a lot of information at this point, does the official ruling of murder-suicide align with typical patterns seen in similar cases?
I mean, it's hard to really say because police don't always release all the details. So, it's kind of early, I think. I mean, I guess just if you look back just a couple weeks ago, the whole Gene Hackman thing, right? People thought that was potentially murder-suicide. Ends up it wasn't at all. So, sometimes I think that's just because they don't really know anything else. That may just be the easiest conclusion to draw right now, and then they'll figure it out. But I don't know.
When investigators make an early ruling like this, how thorough is their process? Could they be potentially overlooking key evidence?
Yeah, of course. And, I'm not trying to insult the Towns County Sheriff's Office, but it's not exactly, it's a pretty safe place, pretty safe county. They don't have many things like this happen up there. I know the area pretty well. And they don't have a large law enforcement, sheriff's department, just a couple investigators. I don't think there's, again, I'm not in any way criticizing them at all. I'm just saying I don't think they have the resources typically that you see in a major city or the experience, which is why a lot of people like living there because they don't have a lot of crime.
Well, do you think in situations like this is when they try to tap on other officials to help them with a case such as this one?
Yeah, and I know the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, typically gets involved. They did get involved in this, but again, it's still early, so it's hard to say. And, unfortunately for us, the police typically don't give out a lot of information, right? They want to see if they can get any leads, if there's any tips, and sometimes sometimes they actually give out intentionally false information to try to generate a lead.
Well, the twins' family insists that they would not harm each other.
All right, y'all. Tune in for part 2. Coming at you.